Greetings, and so good to see you
Okay, it's
again.
so good to see you again here
Yeah,
this year, okay, in our conference. We are really glad to see you here. And Birseluce is also here with us.
excellent. Yes, I noticed some names of friends on the
Yeah,
screen. Hello to everyone. Greetings.
okay. So, can you share your presentation or?
Do you have the slides? It might be easier if you could.
Okay,
I emailed you.
I have your slides. Let me just share it with the audience here. No, this one is okay.
And feel free to translate. I don't know if
Okay.
my
So from
slides.
yeah,
Yeah,
from time to time, I
yes.
will.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Değerli katılımcılarımız, Todd hocamızın sunumunu dinleyeceğiz. Ara ara tekrar çeviriler yapacağız. Oturum sonunda da hocamıza sorularınız olursa alacağız. Hocamız Amerika'dan katılıyor. Özellikle de yapay zeka kullanımı ile ilgili bilgilendirmelerde bulunacak. Yes, Todd, we are listening to you.
Well,
Uh,
first, I much appreciate the opportunity to speak before this wonderful body of scholars and teachers. This is a very, very large topic, and I hope to have a publication next year because it's very all-encompassing. So I may be a little ambitious trying to speak to artificial intelligence, but it is very current policy and issue in my university and also in my other role as a school board member. The language here, I want to give credit very much so that the idea of policing to empathy really is attributable to a scholar here named Tony Frontier. And he brought those words forward, and I think they're very important words because one of the concerns I have with artificial intelligence is the increase of monitoring and surveillance. I've always been a user of technology, but I'm becoming more and more skeptical of the direction in which technology is going. So I thought these words were very good. So in particular, I like to throw pictures on PowerPoint so that you can kind of get a sense of what it is that I do or what my colleagues do. This is myself doing one of my courses, talking about various issues. So as a faculty member, I find it most engaging to work with students and have complex conversations. I find a challenge when we try to reduce complicated topics to very simple sound bites. I think it's very important to give uh, full impression of the issues that we're facing. So part of what my colleagues and I at National Louis University do and across Chicago is we work in scholarly learning communities. We're trying to build the scholarly learning work to do critical inquiry. And I'll stop
okay.
there so you can translate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Hocamızın aslında birden çok görevi var Amerika'da. İlk yani fakültesindeki rolünden bahsediyor ve bir öğretim üyesi olarak aslında öğrencilerimizin diyor bir karmaşık öğretim programı tartışmalarına katılımlarını sağlayacak deneyimler ve fırsatlar sunmaya çalışıyoruz. Tüm aslında ana derslerimiz yani core derslerimiz diyebiliriz. Meslektaşlarım ve benim eleştirel sorgulamayı mümkün kılan bir akademik öğrenme topluluğu oluşturmaya çalışıyoruz. Ve öğrencilerimiz de bu aidiyet duygusunu hissediyorlar diyor. Yes.
And very briefly, the issue is that a lot of students coming into higher education are sharing that they don't know if they belong or they're feeling a need to belong. And I'm curious how artificial intelligence helps or harms. in that field.
Aslında bizim merak ettiğimiz durum şu oldu diyor. Genelde üniversiteye kayıt olan öğrencilerimizin o aidiyet hissini genelde bilmediklerini ifade ettiklerini söylüyor ve bu noktada da yapay zekanın neler yapabileceğini merak ettiğini ifade ediyor. Bu konuda neler yapabileceğini.
Thank you.
Yes, please, Todd.
So this is really my second job. My first job is as a professor, but over the years I've become very involved in my community. We have school boards. School board role is to engage with the community and make various decisions about budget and curriculum. In this capacity, I showed this picture. This is my school district because we have for those school board members who want to become educated, opportunities to do workshops or professional development, and I always sign up for that. The one that we had recently was AI with intention. So we can go to the next one.
Okul kurulu üyeliği de var hocamızın. Aslında bu fotoğrafı da o merkezi bağlı bulunduğu merkezi göstermek için koyduğunu ifade ediyor. Burada da genelde mesleki gelişim ve bu noktadaki hizmet faaliyetlerine, hizmet ve mesleki gelişim faaliyetlerine dahil olduğunu, katıldığını ifade ediyor. Yes, please.
Yep. And we can go to the next slide. Yep. So one of the issues that I find is really very disturbing, especially I can speak for the United States, is that many of the artificial intelligence companies are spreading misinformation. And there's a profit incentive and a promotion of untrustworthy conspiracy theories. It's very disappointing that a lot of that has moved in that direction, which has been one of the problems is that we have to teach our students how to be critical readers because they're getting their information from Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. And most of this information, frankly, is worse than worthless. It's false and misleading. So we can go to the next one.
Okay. Özetle şunu söylüyor hocamız aslında özellikle Amerika'da bu yapay zeka şirketlerinin çok fazla yanlış bilgi yaydığını ifade ediyor. Bunun da daha çok işte kar durumuna bağlı olduğunu ifade ediyor ve aynı zamanda da öğrencilerimizin bu noktada da çok fazla sosyal medya üzerinden yanlış bilgiye bazı sosyal medya araçları üzerinden yanlış bilgiye erişim sağladıklarını belirtiyor.
So this book is a very friendly book to practitioners. I myself am a bit more of a theoretician, so I'm very interested in the larger pictures. But Tony Frontier, the leader of the workshop I attended, is a teacher, he's been a principal, and now he's a consultant. And his argument is that educators must use AI because who else is going to help our students in this world that is relying more and more on a technology that can do great good or great harm? And his point is that, and this is my language in particular, we always have to remember it's mechanical learning, it's algorithms. It's not the same thing as a human sentient being in front of the classroom with students who are also human and sentient. They're not bots, they're not robots, they're not technological ideations or hallucinations. They're real in a sentient sense. But Frontier says there's ways we can teach ethical practices and uses of AI. Hope that makes sense.
Bu kitabı tanıtıyor aslında hocamız. Frontier tarafından yayınlanmış bir kitap. Ve özellikle de aslında AI'ın biz yapay zeka neler yapabileceğini biliyoruz. Ama özellikle de eğitimcilerin de AI kullanımı noktasında bazı destekleyici düşüncelerinin olduğunu ifade ediyor. Ve öğrencilerin kesinlikle mekanik olmadığını, sınıf içerisinde robot olmadıklarını ifade ediyor ve bu noktada da aslında sorulması gereken soru biz ne yapmalıyız? Bizler ne yapmalıyız ve bilinçli eğitmenlerin de sorması gereken sorular mekanik öğrenmeyle ilişkili olmalı diyor. Yes, please.
Thank you. So one of the issues that AI brings, among everything that I've just mentioned in terms of information, is
Okay.
what what counts, what counts as education. And we some colleagues and I have dabbled in this area, and we believe that the why is important. We must commit to what is our purpose for education beyond what's technologically possible. That's really all that is here.
Okay.
So there are very significant issues for higher education in particular. And so I kind of turned to what has emerged in my context. I'm sure this has arisen in Turkey and Denmark and other places, but these are very current issues that have not been only because of the emergence of AI, but they've had a reemergence, if you will, because of AI. So copyright, fake citations, academic freedom, and ethics. And we can move on.
Özellikle yüksek öğretim için bir takım bu yapay zekanın ortaya çıkmasıyla birlikte yani bir takım sorunların da ortaya çıktığını ifade ediyor ve bu sorunlar arasından üç temel durumdan bahsediyor. Telif hakkı, yani bu sahte atıfların yapılması, akademik özgürlük ve etik kavramını ele alacağız.
Mhm. So, intellectual copyright. I wanted to show that I'm not a technophobe. I think it's fun to play with the technology. And so I picked up a Magic School Bus, artificial intelligence, and I said, show me a picture of a teacher that realized she or he used somebody else's work and didn't give them acknowledgement. So,
Bir AI programı kullanarak şöyle bir prompt veriyor yapay zekaya. Bana başka bir öğretmen çiz ve bu öğretmen başka birinin çalışmasını kullanmış ve söylememiş olsun. Ve bu tarz görseller veriyor yapay zeka. Görseller sunmuş hocamıza. Yes.
so this silly graphic is probably how we would feel if we were embarrassed that we were found to have used someone else's work and claimed it as our own. That's the only point of doing this. So let's go to the next one.
Yes.
So now we go to reality. Okay, so these are real issues that had significant problem in United States. Only a few years ago, the president of Harvard was found to have done some soft plagiarism, meaning that there were many works in her own work that were not attributed or acknowledged by other authors. I thought that there was some problems there, but I didn't see it as intentional, perhaps, but maybe not great research. On the other hand, the Secretary of Education, Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, was found to have, if not authored, allowed a report to go through with many fake studies, studies that were not real at all and were essentially hallucinations. I'll stop there.
Aa,
Yeah.
Burada aslında copyright telif hakkı olayıyla ilgili artık gerçek hayattan örnekler sunmak istedi hocamız. Özellikle de Amerika'da yaşanan iki tane olayı ele alıyor. Bunların her ikisinin de telif hakkı sorunsalı ile ilgili olduğunu ifade ediyor.
This I think is actually an important slide, so I will just say two more things about this.
This
The
one?
yes,
Okay.
the emergence of AI means that it is easier to make mistakes, put in citations that are not warranted, but it's also easier to detect mistakes. So it's a double-edged sword, and I think we have to think very carefully about how in academia we use AI. That's really the point.
Aslında bu nokta üzerinde biraz daha fazla durmam gerekiyor diyor hocamız. AI ile birlikte, yapay zeka ile birlikte hata yapma durumumuzun da arttığı ve kolaylaştığı yönünde bir bilgilendirme yapıyor. Yalnız hata yapmak ne kadar kolaysa hataları tespit etmenin de o denli hızlı ve kolay olabileceğini ve özellikle akademide yapay zekanın kullanımında oldukça dikkatli olmamız gerektiğini ifade ediyor.
you could go to the next slide. So part of what we in higher education and education in general need to pay attention to the law. We need to look at what's happening in the courts. There's a lot of activity in the courts in the United States right now with regards to what we call big tech. And frankly, United States is playing catch up. We're not as advanced as the European Union in these issues, and we need to have these issues sorted out in court. This is a particular, fairly recent, over the last several months, evolution of problems with GPT, and OpenAI, and feelings from some of the American newspapers that these AI tools are taking information from our newspapers and not giving attribution and not asking for permission.
Burada biraz da aslında bu yapay zeka ile ilgili açılmış olan davalara değiniyor hocamız ve özellikle Amerika'da çok fazla davanın açıldığını ve bunların nasıl çözümlenmesi gerektiğini de takip ettiğini ifade ediyor. Ve bazı bilinen gazetelerin de çok fazla dava ChatGPT'ye yönelik dava açtığını ve çünkü gerçek haberleri ChatGPT'nin kendilerinden aldığını ve hiçbir şekilde izin almadan bunu yaptıklarını ifade ediyorlar ve dolayısıyla dava ediyorlar.
I'm not a lawyer, but I can imagine there are issues there. So let's go to the next one. Thank you. This is one of the organizations that I've been a proud member of that I believe maybe there's corollary, certainly in Turkey or in Great Britain, but this is the American Association of University Professors. Has a very good history of representing faculty interests in terms of protecting their intellectual work, academic freedom to say and write what you desire, and also shared governance, that faculty have a role in governing universities. And so this is, of my observation, the latest discussion about artificial intelligence is coming from the AAUP.
Bu hocamızın aslında bağlı bulunduğu bir birim diyebiliriz, bir kuruluş aslında. 1915 yılında kurulmuş. Ve bu kuruluşun aslında misyonu, amacı bir entelektüel çalışma, akademik özgürlük, eğitimde kalite ve aslında entelektüel çalışma ortamı oluşturmaya ilişkin bunları hedeflediğini ifade ediyor.
So this is too much text for a PowerPoint, but I wanted you to, and participants here to, oh, yeah, right there.
Okay.
Wanted participants to understand that this is language, it's public facing, it's available on the internet. But in particular, I highlighted, bolded rather, the important part about scholars needing to be engaged in rigorous inquiry, questioning prevailing orthodoxies without fear of censorship or jeopardizing one's career. Why is artificial intelligence a challenge in this regard? Well, oftentimes, using artificial intelligence tends to, depending on how it has been trained, depending how it's been used, it can marginalize dissent or opinions that run counter to or don't flow easily within status quo thinking. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah. Aslında bu durumun, yaşanan bu durumların ile akademisyenlerin daha çok sansür korkusu ya da kariyerlerini tehlikeye atma endişesi olmadan doğruları sorgulayan titiz bir sorgulamaya girişebilmelerini sağlıyor. Ve şunu da söyleyebiliriz, hocamız bunu da ekliyor ve böyle bir açığın akademik disiplinlerin dinamizmi için kritik bir öneme sahip olduğunu ifade ediyor. Aynı zamanda akademik özgürlüğün akademinin hakikati arama misyonunun temeli olduğunu belirtiyor ve bu araştırma sürecinin bu bütünlüğü koruduğunu, bulgular ve sonuçların bu özel çıkarlar ve gündemlerden dolayı değil de daha çok dürüst ve sağlam araştırmalardan elde edilmesi gerektiğini ifade ediyor.
So one of the advocacies from the AAUP, it's a very basic, very similar advocacy that has always been a pillar of higher education is the peer review process. And especially in relation to AI, the insights mentioned here is that publishers and scientific community need to seriously consider professionalizing or maybe reprofessionalizing the peer review process because the training of peer reviewers is even more important to my observation than the training of AI tools to do reviews. It's important that journal editors have the quality, rigor, and ethical standards that are part of the scholarly communication. So this is Johnson and Johnson McCurdy emphasize how important it is that we review the review process itself. That's all. Yeah.
Okay. Hocamız biraz da bu hakem değerlendirme süreci ve AI üzerine bazı açıklamalarda bulundu. Özellikle de bu yayımcılar ve bilim camiasının içerisinde olan araştırmacılar için söylüyor. Bu hakem değerlendirme sürecinin profesyonelleştirilmesini ciddi biçimde bir düşünmenin zamanı geldiğini ifade ediyor. Peki bu nasıl yapılabilir? Bu aslında hakemlerin ve dergi editörlerinin ücretlendirilmesi yoluyla gerçekleştirilebilir ya da onlara eğitim verilmesi yoluyla gerçekleştirilebilir ve sonuç olarak diyor yapay zeka ile bu değişen akademik iletişim ortamında bilimsel iletişimin kalite, titizlik ve etik standartları güçlendirilebilir.
And I'll just point out that the implications of AI for curriculum and pedagogy, getting very practical, is that we have to make sure that the content that is available is maintaining truth telling, free will. We have to think about the incentives for non-educators or frankly, sometimes politicians to bend the truth or use AI to uh, enhance false narratives. So one of the issues is that the AAUP does not say that you should prohibit AI use in the classroom. It does say that we have to take a balanced approach, not surprisingly, with the promise and pitfall. There are great things that can be done, and there's a lot of mischief. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, yes. Aslında yapay zeka tarafından üretilen içeriğin hem değerlendirilmesi hem de düzenlenmesi sadece doğruları söyleme ya da özgür iradeyi koruma açısından daha da kritik hale geldiğini ifade ediyor. Ve dolayısıyla aslında kesinlikle yapay zekanın yasaklanmasının doğru bir yaklaşım olmadığını hem yapay zekanın bize sunmuş olduğu vaatleri hem de tehlikeleri dikkate alan dengeli bir yaklaşım benimsememiz gerektiğini ifade ediyor ve bunun benimsenmesiyle birlikte akademinin gelişmeye daha da açık olabileceğini ve akademinin daha da gelişebileceğini ifade ediyor.
Okay.
Yes.
And again, this is just one of the, real quickly, I'll move along, but one of the challenges is that as instructors, we have an ethical obligation to engage in problem-solving discussions, engage our students in social issues, unscripted activities, pro seminars. These are just examples of, uh, classrooms where students are fully engaged. We can use the technology both to bring students in, also to bring scholars in from abroad. So that's all. I just want to make sure we understand. I'm not speaking against the uses of technology. That would be foolish, but we have to be really thoughtful when we're bringing AI explicitly into the classroom. And so we can just go to the next slide.
Okay. Kesinlikle teknolojiyle ilgili teknolojiyi desteklemeyen birisi olmadığını, onun kullanımına ilişkin düzgün kullanımına gerekliliği noktasında gerekliliğini desteklediğini ifade ediyor. Yes.
So this is just an example of a tool that is used, Magic School. It's basically for teachers in K through 12. And simply put, I can imagine that many, if not most, teachers and professors have, at one time or another, created rubrics. The AI can create a rubric, but creating a rubric that is meaningful and thoughtful, I believe, takes intentional and procedural and content knowledge work.
Pardon, Todd, is it an AI tool, rubric
Yes,
generator? It's one of
yes,
the, okay, it's
yes,
inside one of the AI tools, I
that's
guess.
correct.
It's integrated in it.
That's correct.
Okay. AI içerisi aslında yapay zeka uygulamalarının bir uzantısı olarak rubrik oluşturma programının da olduğunu, kısmında olduğunu ondan bir örnek sunuyor hocamız bize. Rubrik öğretmenlere yönelik olarak rubrik oluşturma programı. Yes.
Okay, so you see in this tool, there's standards, objectives. So I just wanted to give an example of the thinking behind creating a rubric that I think is fairly good. I created my rubric on my own, and then I said, okay, AI, this is what I think a good rubric looks like. These are standards that we use in Illinois and Chicago. They're called culturally responsive teaching and leading standards. And faculty, teachers ourselves, we really like these standards. They're standards that we feel we own.
Çalışmış olduğum kurumda da aslında bazı oluşturmuş olduğumuz standartlar var ve biz aşağıda bahsedeceğimiz bu standartları oluşturduk ve bunlara uymaya çalışıyoruz. Will you explain these standards, Todd?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
They're standards that K through 12 schools believe will help meet the needs of students coming from various countries, different religions, different backgrounds. And they were created by some of the colleagues at my university. And we strongly affirm that it's important to have relationships with families. We support students being advocates in their own learning.
Aslında bu standartlar şunları kapsıyor. Yani kültürel olarak duyarlı bir öğretim ve liderlik standartları bu standartlar. Özetle şunu söyleyebiliriz. E, Öğrenci aktivizmini, öğrenci etkinliğini güçlendirme. Yani kültürel anlamda duyarlı öğretmenler, liderler yetiştirme diyebiliriz. Onun dışında aile ve toplumla işbirliği işbirliğini ifade edebiliriz şurada gördüğümüz gibi. Ve kültürel olarak duyarlı öğretmenler, liderler, araştırmacılar, politika yapıcılar ve aktivistler aileler ve toplumla ortaklık kuracaklar ve güven bağı oluşturacak, karşılıklı ilişkiler geliştirebilecekler ve kültürler arası iletişim kurabilecekler.
Very good. So I'll try to finish pretty quickly here to
Yeah.
say, so essentially what for my students that do policy work, they're students in the doctoral program, so they're accomplished teachers and leaders. This is kind of a breakdown of what their policy brief or white paper looks like. You could share these slides so participants can read it and study later.
Okay.
But I just wanted to share that this is the information with the standards. I put it into the rubric tool, and we could go to the next page. And this is rather small, but this is what the AI came up with. I helped by providing the criteria, but it looks as good or perhaps maybe slightly more articulate or better than the rubric I put together. So I just wanted to share that using AI, it's very important to be very intentional and have as much information and definition as possible, but realize that it also can miss things. And it did miss something. Let's go to the next slide. it missed including an AI standard for itself. So we as faculty put in the information that we want to make sure that our students remember to reference AI whenever they use it. And we can go to the last slide. So essentially, it's important. This slide's a little bit messy, but if we are looking at students experimenting with AI, which they all are, rather than punish them as a cheater, we should ask them, help me understand how you got here. So that instead of using AI to police our students, we should be empathic and we should counsel, not cancel. We should be engaged in the conversation because we are all learning. And that's my presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions or comments. Maybe some of these slides that are rather ambitious are, inspire some conversation. Thank you.
Okay, Todd, thanks for this effective presentation. It's a hot topic
Mhm.
in these days, in the last years, artificial intelligence, and in Turkey also. Throughout the conference, okay, we have a variety of panels, okay, and this topic is mostly discussed. And thanks for the large kind of information. Um, I want to ask participants whether they have questions or not. Sayın katılımcılarımız, Todd hocamız konuya ilişkin sorularınız varsa alabilir oturumu sonlandırmadan önce. Birsel teacher tells you, Todd, thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you very much. Good to see Purcell and others, and hopefully we'll look to next year when we have an actual publication to share with you. Hopefully there are others that are interested in this topic as well.
We hope you will visit
Mhm.
Turkey next year.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
hope.
yeah. I hope if with a school board work calm down a little bit.
Okay, we hope. Okay. Yeah, Todd, thank you. And Robert,
Thank you, Robert.
thank you all for participating to our conference. It really works well, and the topics are so, I think, updated. Şule hocam, you, Anastasia, and Todd, and Robert, thanks for all. Do you want to share your opinions before closing the session, or we will close the session?
I think this has been very productive. Thank you, Todd. I really enjoyed your presentation as well, and Dr. Flipson as well. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. So nice to meet you.
You're yourself too. Yeah. We'll stay in touch
Okay.
through Seda. Thank you, Seda.
You're welcome. I'm really happy to see you again this year. So I will send all the acceptance letters, okay, to you. Do not worry, please. Okay.